Office.
Good afternoon all. We welcome you all to the fifth day session of the five-day virtual faculty development program for research methodology hosted by Postgraduate Department of Commerce, Vistoti College of Management and Technology in association with Research and IPR Cell and IQSL. Today's session will be on the topic, the research side. First, I invite Ashwati Krishna for seeking the blessings of God.
നന്മരൂപിയായ ദൈവമേ നിനക്കു വന്ദനം. നന്മരൂപിയായ ദൈവമേ നിനക്കു വന്ദനം. ബുദ്ധിയും വിശുദ്ധിയും സ്വഭാവശുദ്ധിയും സദാ ഭക്തിയും വിവേകവും തരണമേ ദയാനിധേ. നന്മരൂപിയായ ദൈവമേ നിനക്കു വന്ദനം.
Now I invite Ria Sarah Matthew to formally welcome the gathering.
Good afternoon all. It's a moment of great privilege and honor for me to extend a hearty welcome to all of you to the fifth day of National Level Virtual Faculty Development Program on Research Methodology organized by Postgraduate Department of Commerce in association with IQAC. The resource person of today's program is Professor Dr. Anil Ramachandran, Research Director, Professor and Head at School of Physical Education and Sports Science, Kannur University. I welcome you, sir, for today's session. Next, I would like to welcome Father Joshi Chiramkuri CMI, Principal of Christjodi College, Dr. Varghese Sandani, sir, Vice Principal and HOD of Commerce Department, Dr. Anu Anthony, IQAC Coordinator, and all other participants to this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Ria. Today's session will be handled by Professor Dr. Anil Ramachandran, Professor and Head School of Physical Education and Sports Sciences, Kannur University. He is having 24 years of teaching experience. He has successfully guided 10 PhD candidates and presently guiding 6 research scholars. He has also been a resource person for more than 100 national seminars and 25 international seminars. Now I request Dr. Anil Ramachandran to proceed with today's session.
Okay, good afternoon. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Audible. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. I think this is the last session of your total program. I hope you must have got the sessions on plagiarism and research ethics. So this session we are concentrating more on research writing. I'll just start with my presentation and then we'll go ahead. Is the slide visible?
Yes, sir.
The slide is visible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, this session is on research writing. Of course, research writing is a very wide topic, which I'm sure cannot be covered in a 1 hour duration. But definitely, I'll speak upon a little bit on the technicalities of research writing, which every writer should be very aware of. Okay. There's a big difference between general writing and research writing, because research writing is always writing with a scientific approach, or we are writing scientific papers. And as you know, science is very, very systematic and orderly collection of records. And scientific records are stored or archived in a standardized form. That's what we call as research papers. So basically, if you do a research, maybe at your master's level, maybe at your PhD level, or you do research for a project, every research project is deemed to be not contributed if it is not been reported in a standard paper. Why? Because that is a way, that is a medium through which you can communicate your findings to a larger audience. Therefore, everyone, if you are a contributing scientist, you must write scientific papers. So if you're a good teacher of science, if you're a good teacher of commerce, if you're a good teacher in management, whatever small or big research works you take up, it has to go into the public domain. It has to go to a wider audience. It has to be reported. And that reporting has to be done in a standard form. So that is what is required of a researcher, basically. And if you see this slide, it's very important that we should understand that 90% of research papers are written in the English language. So there's a saying, either publish in English or perish. Of course, regional languages, I'm leaving it apart, but that doesn't contribute to the larger percentage. So to write as a good researcher, to write good research papers, English becomes a mandate, and the technicalities of writing becomes a mandate. So definitely, we need to look into that. We read good literature, and we are able to assimilate that, and we are able to write better in the English language. And when I say English language, do not consider that it's all the Shakespearean usages. Scientific writing has nothing to do with flowery language. Scientific writing is a technical writing where there is a standard of reporting. What is the standard? You all know it quite. You must be knowing it quite well. But then we will revise it on what are the standards of scientifically written research paper. Basic rules of writing. I'll start with an incident which happened during the World War II. Winston Churchill and his preparation of report of World War II. So he had asked his secretary to compile a report of the World War II. So his secretary sat down and wrote, and the report came around 200 pages. And the report was handed over to Winston Churchill. So Winston Churchill, what he did, he took his pen and he started cutting down the lines in the 200 pages report. And he made it into a 2-page report. The 200-page long report was cut down into a 2-page report. And Winston Churchill said to the secretary, I hope you don't mind me doing this. After having cut short this 200 pages report to a 2-page report, Winston Churchill asked his secretary, I hope you don't mind doing this. The secretary said, thank you, sir. You are giving me a free lesson in writing plain English. So I would say this is a background of idea for a research writer. It is not the number of pages. It is not the volume of your written work, but the standard of your writing, the precision of your writing, the comprehensiveness of your writing, which is very important in a research paper. Very often, if you write for a good journal, they may insist that your research article should be fitted into a 6-page or an 8-page report, not beyond that. So then you have to be very, very selective in terms of how you use the terms, what type of information is to be passed, how you communicate, what representations have to be given. So that precision, that comprehensiveness of making the research paper into a smaller but understandable form is the essence, is the technicality of research writing. But that becomes very important. I don't know if some of you are doing a PhD, you must be submitting a proposal to the university, right? So universities might insist on a particular format. And sometimes you want a proposal from an organization, they may ask you, give you a report, give you a proposal in a 1 page. So when you're asked to give a 1-page proposal, you are given a selective choice of communicating. So within that 1 page, whatever essential things are to be communicated, that has to be done. So there you'll have to cut down. You'll have to shorten it, and you'll have to be very precise. You'll have to go with a particular standard, but communicate what is most important to be communicated. So that is what is the general idea of research writing. We look with the general rules, the basic rules of writing. Brevity is very important. That is excluding non-essential words. In research report, write essential words only. Do not, you might have good language. If you have good language, maybe you can write a novel. You can write a fiction, not a research report. Research report should exclude non-essential words. So only essential words are to be written in a research report. Logic and clarity is the second important thing. For everything you write, there has to be logic. There has to be clarity in your writing. And the third basic rule is cleanliness of the typing. A manuscript has to be very cleanly typed. So very often it is found that there is a close relationship between poorly prepared manuscript and poor science. So if you have done a good science, if your research has got a good mandate in terms of scientific inquiry, then definitely it requires a well-prepared manuscript. Good science cannot go with poor manuscript. So brevity is important, excluding non-essential words, logic, clarity, clean typing. These are basic rules of research writing. Research writing, keep this in mind. Do not recapitulate your journey of discovery. I don't know whether you can get it, because sometimes when you have undertaken a big project, a very, very laborious project, a challenging project, you might have plenty of experiences, difficulties, challenges. Now, your research report is not the space to narrate on these journeys. Your research report only requires what you have done, what you have found out, why you have found out, and what is the conclusion. Nothing else. Your personal experience, your personal journey, the challenges you faced is not part of a scientific report writing. So your emotionality has got nothing to do with research report. Research report is all about facts, all about findings, all about technical reportings. Your experiences, the emotional journey you have taken, take the best direct route to communicate the readers what exactly is your finding. Because we are interested only in that. We are not interested in the journey or the process you have taken to complete the research work. I hope I am being listened to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 4 questions are addressed in a manuscript. And those 4 questions goes with the major sections of a manuscript. What is the research? Your introduction part should be able to explain that. What did you do? The methods will give a clear idea. What did you find out? A person has to go through your results. And what does that mean? Your discussions and the final conclusion. So we are actually answering 4 questions in a manuscript. you should check whether these 4 questions are being addressed to in your manuscript. What exactly is the research? Your introductory part should explain it very, very clearly. What did you do in your study? The method should give clear indication, whether it is the selection of participants, the selection of the tools, the procedure, the data collection method, the design, the analysis. Everything related to the method should be very clear in the methods part. And if a person wants to find out what you have actually found out with your findings, he just have to read your results section. And how do you have interpreted that? What is the final conclusion? Your discussions and conclusions will give the idea. So we are addressing 4 important questions, giving answers to that in your manuscript writing. So that this is a checkpoint. You should know whether the introductory part is well written, provided it answers what exactly is the research. If it is answering this question, definitely your introductory part is going with a scientific manuscript. Reports enable you to communicate to others what was carried out, how it was carried out, why it was carried out, what was found, and what the results actually mean. So these are things which a reader might be looking into while scanning through your research manuscript. Writing procedure, we'll go with that. How to write and when to start writing. Okay. The main difference between scientific writing and other writing is, in scientific writing, we write to inform, not to impress. I hope you get the idea. Scientific writing is not a writing to impress others. It is to inform others what you have done. Inform about your findings. Inform about the conclusions. If you have got good language, impressive language, you can write novels. You can win plenty of hearts. So scientific writing is quite easy. You need not master the language in a different way, but you should know to write proper English. That is important. Plain, neat, correct English is important in scientific writing. Writing procedure, of course, you know the standard research manuscript or a scientific paper has a certain systematic format. We have a title, we have an abstract, we might have a separate section for introduction or maybe a clubbed in introductory session. Introductory session can also include the literature in papers. We have a section for the materials and methods, then for results, discussion, conclusion, and references. This is a standard format of a research report or a research paper. How do you start with your research writing? How do you start with your research writing? Which order do you start research writing? Which part of the section should be written first? Can I get some response? If you're doing research or if you're writing a research paper or a research report, which part do you start with? Or which part do you complete first?
Sir, abstract for the introduction of the topic.
Abstract, okay. You mean the first part to be completed is the abstract?
So sort of a summary of my whole paper on what it is about with some key areas of
No,
keywords.
my question is, when you're writing a research report, which part of the research report do you complete first? Which part can get completed first?
Literature review.
Literature review, okay. Any other option? Somebody else? Can others also respond? Which part of the research report can you complete first?
Purpose of the paper.
Purpose of the paper, okay.
Or
Sir, objectives of the study.
Objectives of the study, okay.
Or hypothesis as in.
Hypothesis, okay.
Title first होगा ना?
Yes. Somebody was speaking, I could not hear it. Kaveri, I think you were speaking something.
Yeah, to see the title, sir. Title of the research.
Title has to be finalized first, okay. Kaveri says title has to be finalized first. Okay, I want options from others also.
Sir,
Yes.
first introduction,
First introduction, okay.
objectives,
Objectives,
hypothesis,
hypothesis,
review of literature.
review of literature. This is the, I think, previous slide I had shown.
Yes.
The sequence.
Yes.
You mean we go with that sequence? That is fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Any other option? Anybody else? Do you have a different answer? A different possibility? You can speak out.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
First, I'll write whatever my findings, result, and then last is my introduction. It's my approaches was like that.
You'll write your findings first. How will you write your findings first?
No, after the experiments, whatever I have wrote down, no, that results I'll write it. After that only I'll go for
You will write your results first, but then how do you write your results without having the methodology? Can you write your results without having a proper methodology?
No, sir, I have done the experiment based on my methodology only, no?
Okay, okay. Now my question is, logically, which part of the document can be finalized first?
Finalized is methodology first.
Methodology first. Okay.
Last is
Why last is introduction?
Sir,
Many of them said that
convey.
introduction has to be written first.
No, I will write my introduction last only.
Why? You give a logic for that.
I used to get confident after writing all these things. So what I want is the first one page itself, the reader should get to know what is in my paper. So
Okay.
once if I write another part, then I will get a confidence. My approach. I don't know it's right or wrong. I have done like that.
Okay.
sir, title of
Title should be finalized first.
yeah.
Okay. Anu says title has to be finalized first. Somebody else was speaking in between. You have something to say? Okay. The order of writing is basically an inside-out method. The best part of a project or a manuscript which can be finalized can be the methods. Why? Any idea why? This is one part which you can finalize first. Of course, this requires the questions, the objectives, hypothesis, no doubt about it. I don't say that the objectives and hypotheses are not important. Only with the objectives and hypotheses, you go with the methodology. But you can complete this section first. In a final report, this can be the section which can be completed first. Why? The simple reason being, once you have a methodology finalized, you take your data only after the method has been finalized. So even when you're taking the data, your methodology is finalized. Can you change the methodology after collecting the data? Is there any possibility of changing the methodology after collecting the data?
No.
Basically, no. So one part which can be finalized is the methodology. The methodology can be finalized as and when you complete the data collection. You cannot have any change in the methodology because it is already done. Are you getting it? Are you getting the idea?
Yes, sir.
So the first part which you can confidently complete in a manuscript is the methodology part. That can be done as and when you fix up and complete your data collection. Once your methodology is done, I am sure you can easily progress towards your analysis, because that is an extension of the methodology. The data has been completed. The method is very clear. Appropriate statistics is there. You can go with your analysis. You can complete your result section. Once your result section is complete, definitely you can go to a conclusion. An introduction, as Dr. Kala has said, that is the most difficult part. That is the most creative part. And that is a part which you can finalize last, because there is lots of scope of improvement in the introduction. Methodology, there is no scope of improvement once the data is collected. Results, there is no scope of improvement once the analysis is done. You cannot change the data. You cannot change the results. Conclusion, you cannot do anything. It goes in line with what results you have got. So these three parts can be completed first. Then you can go back to the introduction, depending upon your results. Depending upon the conclusions you have got, you can change the introduction. You can change the narration of your study. You can make it more interesting to the reader, depending upon the last part of your report. Very often, research supervisors say, complete your introduction chapter and submit. Complete your review and submit. You can give a draft, you cannot complete it. The completion of introduction, completion of review will depend upon your results, discussion and conclusion. You get some results, you will have to look into further literature, don't you? You get a very, very surprising result. Don't you have to validate with a new review of findings? Yes or no? Is somebody listening to me? I hope somebody is listening to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and somebody was saying the title has to be done first. Maybe if you are going with the university proposal for PhD, you have to submit a title and a proposal. But if you're doing a research work, the title can be the last thing you can finalize. Depending upon the characteristics of the study, depending upon the results you have obtained, you can coin a wonderful title at the last. Appropriate title, I would say. See, when a lady is pregnant, do you name the baby? If a lady is pregnant, do you fix up the name of the child who is to be born?
No, sir.
You cannot do it. You cannot do it. When do you do it? When do you name the child?
After.
You name the child after the birth, looking into the characteristics. I think Kavita, can you mute? There's some audio disturbance from you, Kavita. Kavita is there? Kavita KR. Organizers, please see whether Kavita is there. If ask her to mute.
That cannot be changed. Allah exclude whatever exclude for instance, mathematical formula E is equal to x square. That cannot be changed. Allah is not a creator. Allah is
Anu is there?
That cannot be changed.
Anybody in the organizing part is there here? Research for category students are getting researchers top based on original ideas. Original ideas which shall include abstract, summary, hypothesis, observation, research, conclusion, and recommendation only cannot have any similarity. In the case of similarity to that is the idea of abstract summary and hypothesis is same way of So I think nobody is listening then. Kavita is not listening.
Mic on. Kavita, our mic on. Anil sir.
Yes.
Whether second mic is on.
Pardon?
Kavita, our mic is on.
Yeah. I'm asking her to mute. She is not listening.
So we can see the organized team.
Yeah, the organizer is also not here, I think. I have asked them also. This is what happens with the online system.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Somebody will be speaking, nobody will be listening.
Yes, sir.
But we all are listening, sir, actively.
Yes, sir. We are listening, sir.
Okay, I think.
Kavita has muted herself.
Okay, that's fine. No, this is something which is a courtesy which you need to follow when you're in an online platform. Okay, if you're listening, maybe you listen properly. Have the etiquettes, because it doesn't give a good sign. Anyway, I'm least interested in taking an online session. It was just because I was forced to have gone for the session. Well, I never enjoy it. Though we say that technology has given us options, maybe some communication is okay, because I would prefer to see all of you. Now, except mine, nobody else is in the video mode. Okay, so whom am I speaking to? I'm speaking to few names, few labels. Okay, and I don't know what is happening on the other side. Anyway, shall we continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So I would say it's like the birth of a baby. Until now the baby is born, you do not know whether it is a boy or a girl. And then according to the characteristics, you put a name to the child. So your research project which you take, a good research work you take, the titles should come at the last. Depending upon the quality of your work, depending upon the nature of your study, depending upon the results and findings you have got. Accordingly, you will have to make a title. So I would say title should be the last one which can be finalized. I don't go with the degree projects.